It is the sound of a dream not yet forgotten.
I have a dream today.
Martin Luther King Jr.'s iconic I Have a Dream speech still seared in the minds of so many.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed.
But perhaps even more than a dreamer, he is remembered today as a visionary, a tribute for the civil rights leader who was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee at just 39 years old.
The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, the leader of the nonviolent civil rights movement in the United States, was assassinated in Memphis tonight.
50 years later, the same men who witnessed Dr. King's assassination remembered him at the site where he was killed, the Lorraine Motel, now the Civil Rights Museum. One of many tributes held across the nation. The country honoring the legacy he left behind.
Let's not just keep talking about Dr. King. Let's start trying to live and fulfill the mission that he was on. And as my brother would say, realize the dream.
And while King's work has long been celebrated publicly, the intimate moments of his private, personal life rarely seen until now.
Happy birthday,
those candid moments captured in the new HBO documentary, King in the Wilderness.
We know that you really don't need much.
Dr. Zerona Clayton worked with King and was a close friend of the family. Here she is celebrating what would ultimately be his last birthday.
So when you go to jail, here's some shoestring potatoes.
Many of us feel like we know a lot about Martin Luther King, but you obviously knew him personally. So tell us about the man you knew.
Well, people are surprised to know is that he was just the funniest person ever. People can't imagine him laughing and telling jokes and having a good time, because when you saw him in public, he was talking serious issues, so he wasn't clowning around.
Martin Luther King Jr. was a human being, and he was imperfect. He was conflicted, but his love was unchallengeable.
The new film traces the last 3 years of his life, a time that those closest to him say his smile began to fade.
The most difficult time of his life was the 18 months before his assassination.
I will continue to preach nonviolence.
Clayton says King's morale took a turn after his Beyond Vietnam speech on April 4th, 1967, 1 year before his death.
To the greatest purveyor of violence in the world today, my own government.
His stance against the Vietnam War sparked backlash, even among his followers.
He knew that his enemies often would not support his cause, but he expected his friends to support him. He really died, I think, with that broken heart feeling.
Those tough moments front and center in the documentary, all leading up to the painful details of his death. Clayton was with King's widow, Coretta Scott King, the day he died.
She said to her staff, I don't want anybody to talk to my children. I want to do that myself, so I don't want them to know anything except what I tell them. And so they had them sent to the rooms and waited for her. And so she asked me to stay with her. She said, now I've got to talk to the boys. Will you go in the room with me? And I said, yes. She took me in the room, and she had almost a death grip on my arm as she told the boys. She said later it was the hardest thing for her.
The film's director, Peter Kunhardt, says he thought it was crucial to have witnesses to history like Clayton tell those difficult stories.
People kind of think I Have a Dream marked the culmination of his career, when in fact there were 3 very controversial years that followed.
A perspective that would shine new light on how we viewed Dr. King.
I think King, to this generation, is either a granite statue or a cardboard figure, and we wanted to bring him to life.
Do you think that his message 50 years ago still resonates as much today, in 2018?
Over the years, his belief in nonviolence was kind of yawned over. It's the patient, nonviolent approach that's radical. I mean, even just a week ago with King's granddaughter standing up and saying enough is enough, it's being practiced and it's working.
My name is Yolanda Renee King, granddaughter of Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King.
50 years later, King's 9-year-old granddaughter following her grandfather's footsteps and reciting his famous words at the March for Our Lives in Washington, electrifying the crowd.
I have a dream that enough is enough. And that this should be a gun-free world, period.
Having children participate was one of his secret weapons for change. And in fact, when Yolanda stood up and said enough is enough, she then burst into this big smile of a little girl. It was King's smile. I saw King's face come right through her face.
Today, in remembrance of Dr. King, his granddaughter joined other boys and girls of every race, just as her grandfather had envisioned. These teens marching 50 miles from Mississippi to Memphis.
This symbolizes how we've moved forward.
3 generations walking side by side.
These guys will be able to say, 50 years from now, they were a part of making history around Dr. King's legacy.
Today, King's youngest daughter speaking out against shootings and police profiling, as she told my colleague Steve Osinsami.
America's got to find a way to value life. When you look at the black men being gunned down by law enforcement officers, it's very troubling.
At one point, even melting a handgun at today's rally.
I think people need to know that we can't just pause in this moment and honor a great man. We really have to consider embracing his mission.
They say he provided us a blueprint, a vision, and a dream, all outlined in their father's most recited speech, words that the King family says still mean just as much today.
I have a dream. My 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
Our thanks to Lindsay Davis for her reporting tonight. And the HBO documentary film King in the Wilderness is currently available on all HBO platforms.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.